I'm sorry I haven't been making more videos. I had a pretty crazy last year and a half. Jordy and I were making a bunch of videos, and then Drumeo hit us up and we're like, hey, you wanna make some content for us? So I was like, oh yeah, I mean, that'd be awesome. So we made a 10 episode series breaking down a bunch of different hip hop grooves, and then after that wrapped up, Jared was like, hey, you wanna make a kid show? And I was like, no, not really at all. And he's like, think about it. So thought about it, and then me and Jordy were like, oh, you know, actually, could be kind of fun to make a kid show. So we brought my buddy Dave on board to do most of the animation, and some of my good friends from a band I play in to help with the music. It was a huge project. We kind of started end of November last year, 2018, and didn't wrap up until August 2019. So it was a trip. Every day I was waking up and putting on a tinfoil suit and walking downstairs and standing in front of a green screen and talking to my imaginary friends. So things definitely got pretty weird, but pulled through, thought we did a really great job, and yeah, that all wrapped up, so now I'm here. That's an update to my life that nobody asked for. And I had a kid too. So this is gonna be part one of a 3-part series that Jordy and I really wanted to make, breaking down some of our favorite broken beat tracks. These are all grooves I've spent quite a bit of time with, and each one of them presented its own challenges and really kind of strengthened a different area of kind of groove chops. And I'll explain that all later, but if you haven't heard of broken beat, it's a subgenre of electronic music that came out of West London in the late 1990s into the early 2000s, and it's my favorite dance music of all time. It's sort of a drummer's dream because the producers are taking these crazy rhythms from all over the world and kind of mashing them all up into a dance music setting. If you want to explore some of this music, I'd recommend just going to YouTube and type in broken beat, and there's a couple playlists on there that I really love playing along with. So in this video, we're gonna break down a track called It Don't Work Like That off Bugs in the Attic's record Back in the Doghouse. Yeah, I guarantee that if you spend some time with this track, even if it's not your favorite music, you'll definitely have to confront some weaknesses if you're lucky. You're probably sick of me talking, I'm kind of sick of talking, so yeah, here's the groove.
Bring me all you got. Take 'em up in another rim shot.
So the first thing I really had to work on was trying to figure out the swing of it. You know, normally when you're singing 16th notes, it's just
1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a...
But when you swing the 16th notes a bunch, all the E's and all the A's get squished over to the right a little bit. And then you have
1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a...
So although the groove looks like this on paper, kind of written out, it's actually played much closer to this. So the thing that I found that helps the absolute most in trying to figure out which parts of the groove are swung and which parts are straight is just to tap out swung 16th notes on your chest or on whatever, and then to sing the groove. So it might be a little weird kind of figuring this out at first, but it's so important to learn how to sing grooves. Like some days I'm singing grooves more than I'm playing. I'm just walking around and like, I don't know, that's how I kind of figure things out. A lot of the times I'll beatbox a beat and then try and learn how to play it and listen back to my voice recording. Anyways, that's a bit of a side note. So once you've got a handle on the swing of things, pull up the PDF and the Groove Guide practice track at 100 BPM. This is quite a bit slower than the original track, but there's a shaker in there and it's showing you exactly where that swing is. So try and lock in with that as best as you can. So as with all things drumming, kind of learning the groove on its own is sort of the easiest part. It's learning how to place the groove inside of the music that always seems to kind of pose the greatest challenge. The thing that really helped me do this, with this groove in particular, was when I spent the time to figure out what parts of that clave rhythm that you just heard were landing on which parts of the groove. So to do that, I made it easy on myself. I just printed off the PDF, pulled up the groove guide at 100 BPM, grabbed a highlighter, and just drew the clave rhythm over top of the groove so I could see how both rhythms were relating to one another. Then once I could hear it and I could see it, I would sit down at the drums and just play the groove and do my best to sing the clave rhythm over top. Chit, 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 chit. I know that's super tricky, at least it was for me, but definitely spend the time to learn how to do that, because once the clave rhythm goes from being this kind of like random, annoying, somewhat distracting thing to being fully integrated part of the groove that you're feeling and playing off of, everything just starts sounding and feeling
So much better.
So once you can do that, pull up the groove guide at 123 beats per minute, and let's try and play this up to speed. Before we move on to the main practice track, there was just one little technical issue I had to work through with this groove, and that was figuring out if I should play the hi-hat with one hand or two. When you get those really tight ones on the hi-hat, because it's so swung, they're a little bit tricky with one hand, and I found when I did the little underduck move, I was getting a more consistent swing and a more consistent sound. So definitely experiment and see what works best for you. So you figured out the swing, you can sit the groove against the clave, and you can play it up to speed. So have some fun with the practice track. There's two different versions of the practice track. There's one with claps on the 2 and 4 to kind of help keep you placed right without having a click track in there, kind of being annoying. And then there's a practice track without those claps, and that one is super tricky, and it's real test to see if you can use that clave rhythm as your guide. The PDF has a super easy chart that anybody can read, so definitely print that off so you can follow along while you're playing. So I know this is kind of a lot of fuss and talking about one groove, but I've always found that I learn and grow best when I focus on one thing at a time as kind of intensely as I can. And I hope that you can find some value in that approach as well. Feel free to head over to the website and grab the PDF and the practice tracks if you want to dig into this stuff. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.